I better just talk about this situation because I have an issue with someone saying this. SephirothSword57. I'm not trying to call you out. I'm not going to say anything mean to you, but I'm going to let you go ahead and say what you have to say here. So here we go.
Let's get this over with. You know what we need to talk about. It seems like Western credit card companies and other card companies, they're threatening the Japanese. Westerners, and by that I mean Americans, are telling the Japanese to remove and change things in manga and anime to fit Americans. This is disgusting. So they are threatening to pull out of Japan unless they start becoming more American. What we're going to see in anime and manga is that they're gonna remove ramen from anime and manga and replace it with hamburgers and other disgusting things. They're going to change the Japanese flag to the American flag in anime and manga, and they're going to remove all Jotaro and replace them with yarns instead. That is what's happening right now. And they also want to remove explicit manga titles. Everything here is disgusting. You Americans need to keep your filthy hands off of Japan and its culture. You can ruin your culture as much as you want. Keep away from Japan, you racists.
Okay. First off, I want to correct them on this because I know that most people may not like my opinions every time.
Let's get this over with.
Yeah, so let's get this over with because I want to correct him on this. Now, I had to say this because people weren't paying attention to this because people don't seem to read the articles or even pay attention to the last many decades of history with the UN doing this stuff. Now, I want to point out to you guys about why the credit card companies are doing this. Now, this is an article that has been around for about, made in 2016. The Japanese response to the UN proposal ban for sexual media depicting sexual violence is kind of insane. Now, this is an 8-year-old article, but I know back then there was a group in the UN called Equality Now, which was like a feminist group that went after anime and manga because of the fact that they were afraid that it was depicting violence against women. This is nothing new. They've been around. Equality Now is like this UN watchdog group that protects women. Now, what is the issue that they have? Now, this is like an old battle that's been around for decades, since 2003, I believe. The recent weeks, the United Nations have been making... Now, I'm going to skip this whole argument over here. In recent weeks, the United Nations have been making moves to propose banning Japanese media that depicts sexual violence towards women. Specific media in question being manga, anime, and video games. Their argument is that these media are a breach of human rights, as they sometimes focus on the abuse of women. However, there's some obvious problems with this kind of cultural policing, and it seems Yamada has strictly stepped in to explain why approaching Japanese media is entirely wrong-headed. Now, thanks to Ryan Starr over on Reddit, we have a very thorough translation of Yamada's statement. The two main points she makes is very sensible about banning the so-called banning of these types of media. First point being the so-called sexual violence in manga and video games is a made-up thing, as such does not threaten the rights of actual people. Therefore, it's meaningless to protecting the rights of women. Whereas the second point states that in Japan, and especially when it comes to manga, these are creative fields that women themselves cultivated and worked hard by their own hand to create careers for themselves. If we were to ban the sale of manga, and that includes sexual violence, it would do the opposite. Instead, create a new avenue for sexism towards women. Considering that Yamada herself appeared to be a graphic designer, she clearly is coming from both a professional and creative standpoint, and the Institute is also a vocal independent researcher in the study group that's made up involuntary. So what does this have to do? Well, the UN has partnered up with credit card companies. This is according to AI Overview. You can look up the information here that's linked right here. They have linked up with MasterCard and also Visa. I know that for a fact. They actually do. I know UN partnered up with Visa. You can look it up too. Now, the UN has specific visa requirements for partners of the UN. Like Visa actually does have a partnership with them, because I know credit card companies do have a lot of like standing to help benefit from their business with the UN. Keep in mind, they are trying to, even MasterCard, all the credit card companies are doing this because they want to appease the UN. They don't want to get into any trouble. And the fact is, they are going after, they're focusing on this type of media. They're focusing on the Japanese content. It's not the US that's doing this. It's the fact that the UN is doing this to try to go after Japanese media. That is the truth of the matter. But yet no one wants to listen to me about this. They think I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist. They think I'm nuts. But okay, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Go ahead and tell me if I'm wrong. I want Seth Roth to correct me on this. I want SephirothSword to correct me on this. So anyways, leave your thoughts and tell me what you think, because I gotta go. You guys take care. Bye-bye. I'm out. Peace. I'm out of here.